Before the gates were even open. It smells fantastic in here. Monterrey, Mexico. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Dodgers and the Padres. Dodgers trying to win their 4th in a row after the 1-7 stretch. They've been playing better baseball the last few days. Let's take a look at the lineup. Brought to you by 76. Chris Taylor's at the top of it. Alex Verdugo promoted to the 2 spot in the order. And it's Grandal catching. Bellinger, Kemp, and Peterson in the middle. Chase Utley at second. And Max Muncy gets the start at third. Brian Mitchell, 27 years old, out of Reidsville, North Carolina. Came over from the New York Yankees this offseason in a trade, and they were thinking that this is a guy who's kind of been yanked back and forth between the minors and the bigs throughout his career. Hadn't really gotten an opportunity to get comfortable. They were banking on his potential, but so far it's been rough. An ERA above 6, and his 23 walks are the most in baseball.
Brian Mitchell has really struggled with command. The command that he deals with, the fastball, the cutter, the changeup, all being hit. But the curveball is his best pitch, but he has trouble even throwing that for strikes. The Dodgers don't chase very much. He's going to have to get in the strike zone if they're going to have a chance to get the Dodgers out.
Yeah, it's quite a combo when you're looking at those chase rates today. He has the lowest chase percentage against in baseball, which means teams go out of the zone after his pitches less than any pitcher in baseball, and the Dodgers chase less than any team. Padres are 11-22. Only the Reds have a worse record. Although, do you see the Reds won yesterday? Reds and Marlins facing off this weekend.
That's got to change. One of their records got to improve on a nightly basis.
Credit to this grounds crew both days in this series. Kept the surface playable last night to keep the game going through heavy rain, and it has been raining much of the day today. Tarp's been on the field a lot of the day, but they took it off. They got the field ready, and we're going to start right on time.
It's been absolutely fantastic to watch him out there working continuously to make sure. There was a big meeting about 45 minutes before the game behind home plate with all the executives to make sure we're going to start on time. They made the right call.
Here we go. Brian Mitchell threw his windup, and off we go with a foul ball down the right field line for strike 1. Chris Taylor homered last night in the 4-0 Dodger win. Of course, the headline, the combined no-hitter from Buehler to Cingrani to Garcia to Liberatore. The Dodger offense doing some good things with the homers from Taylor and Hernandez. RBI hits from Kemp and Verdugo.
Dating back to April 8th, or to the 18th, the Dodgers' last game against the Padres. You can add that time that the Dodgers have no-hit the Padres. Now it's 12 2/3 innings.
Taylor shoots one to second, caught by Suaje for the first out of the night. The Dodgers have won all 4 meetings between the teams this season, outscoring San Diego 34-10 in those 4 games. Alex Verdugo, 2 more hits last night. Look at the numbers that he's put up through his first 6 games this year. Takes ball 1.
You know, this pace probably doesn't continue, but he sure looks very comfortable, like it is going to continue for a while. If he has a few at-bats where all of a sudden a hole is exposed, of course, all of the scouts are watching and the league adjusts. We've seen that with Chris Taylor. Justin Turner had to go through that. Cody Bellinger.
It's ahead of Mitchell, 2-1. He's one of the attractions this weekend in Mexico. His grandparents, born in Mexico on his father's side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, Alex played for Team Mexico in the WBC. He has family in town. Both of his parents made the trip. Signing some autographs before the game today. Mitchell with a 2-2, and that's inside to run the count full. On the 21-year-old, originally from Tucson, Arizona.
It's amazing to me that even the media contingent notices how comfortable he is in the box, because nobody is asking the question, are you giving him too much responsibility by moving him up in the order? He's producing, and they're not really protecting him. In some ways, it's a roster decision because of the guys that are playing, but he could be playing and hitting 7th or 8th, but no, he's moved up in the order, and Dave Roberts is not really worried about his mentality in the box, hitting in a more significant place in the order.
On a payoff pitch, he slaps it foul. And he's not looked any different at any point. Granted, it's only 1 week up here, but regardless of the pitcher he's facing, regardless of the situation or the point of the game, he's looked like the same guy.
And what will be appreciated by his teammates when we reach that juncture is if he does slump, that he keeps the same makeup. And that's when you really get labeled a pro's pro.
Down, swinging at a high fastball, 2 up and 2 down. So Brian Mitchell retires the first 2 that he faces. Last start for Mitchell Sunday against the Mets, gave up 4 runs on 5 hits and 4 more walks. And said that it was the best that he's felt, but patience is wearing thin from Padres people. This is with the first one to Grandal. His manager, Andy Green, after the game said, "We acquired him because we believed in his potential. We believed in what he can do. It's about time he stands up and starts doing it." So a not so subtle message that the leash is shortening on Mitchell. They've already sent Luis Perdomo to AAA with his underperformance in the rotation. Wouldn't be afraid to do the same with Mitchell, who throws 2-0 and misses again.
It also sounds like a challenge to throw strikes in the tone of that quote. Especially when you hear the stepping up. He needs to step up.
That's a strike, 3-1. Dodgers have seen him once this year, April 17th in San Diego. And he took the loss in that game, but was able to complete 6 innings. Significant because it's the only time he's done that this year. Back in there, full count on Grandal. Brian Mitchell looking for a 1-2-3 first. Steady walks Grandal, and the inning's kept alive. First inning has been a huge issue for Mitchell with an ERA above 16. Been pretty decent once he gets through the first, but he's put himself in some big holes with bad first innings.
It's hard in a lot of ways. Hard for your team in the offense that struggles to score runs knowing they're having to come from behind, and that's difficult. And then it's hard for you and your confidence to feel like you've got to battle back.
Cody Bellinger takes a first pitch cutter inside, ball 1.
Thrown a lot of those cutters so far. The curveball is the only one that actually has a low average against it, around 200. Everything else is above 300, all the other 3 pitches.
Bellinger hits it foul, 1-1. And the curveball, which you mentioned is the only one with the low average, that's kind of the pitch that the Padres looked at when he was a Yankee and said that has a chance to be an elite pitch for him. And they thought good enough to help him become an above average starter. is 1-1. This is badly ball 2.
They think it can become elite, but it's interesting that the percentage that he's throwing is almost 10% less. So they want to maybe have it as a put-away pitch.
Two and two. Drafted out of North Carolina, 16th round, 2009 by the Yankees, and then was back and forth between the big leagues and AAA for 4 seasons, mostly out of the bullpen. This is the first time in his career he's been in the season opening rotation for a team. 27-year-old downhill with a 2-2, and Bellinger strikes out on that curve, which he's able to put where he wants, burying it in the dirt to get Bellinger and the Dodgers in the first. Kenta Maeda takes it when you come back. Leadoff spot. Tonight it's Travis Jankowski to hit there. And Hosmer and Villanueva both having great seasons for the Padres. Cordero, the young cleanup man. Rafi Lopez does the catching. Jose Perez in left. And the middle infield combo of Galvis and Asuaje round out the order. They face off with a 30-year-old Kenta Maeda, who makes his second start of this road trip. Sunday in San Francisco was not particularly sharp. Gave up 4 runs on 5 hits and 4 walks in a defeat.
So much has been made of Kenta using his hard stuff a lot more this year. He's doing that against righties, and the way he's getting lefties out this year is that exceptional new changeup with its movement. So I think we'll see that a lot here today, because the Padres are throwing 6 regular players at him that are going to be hitting from the left side,
including Jankowski, who takes the first pitch a little bit away. Jankowski started this season in the minors, but with the injury issues the Padres have had, he was called up last week. He's ahead 2-0. Padres currently have Will Myers on the disabled list. He's only played 8 games this year. Hunter Renfroe is on the DL with an elbow injury. Their catcher Austin Hedges, who hasn't hit, but it's a really important piece defensively in handling the staff. He's on the DL too. 2-0. Strike 1.
Little surprise breaking ball to steal a strike. 3rd pitch of the game, hadn't thrown one yet. Pretty nifty.
And then back to the hard stuff, strike 2.
Well, he was high and away arm side with the first 2 pitches, and then throws the breaking ball to get his release point out front, and all of a sudden back to the fastball. It is down by the knees.
Jankowski leading off for the Padres and taking just high to run the count full. Mark Wegner calling balls and strikes tonight. Maeda's payoff. That's a base hit to center. And with the way they had him positioned, it goes all the way to the wall. Jankowski, one of the fastest runners in baseball, is easily at third. One night after the no-hitter, he starts the game with a triple.
Padres had to go back to the hotel and rest on the fact that they got no hit, but that got switched up early here, and with the turf being wet from the rain we had earlier, that ball scooted in the gap easily.
So a man at third, nobody out. Eric Hosmer started hitting him second instead of third last week. RBI total very low, but the other numbers impressive so far. That's banged down the line towards the pole, and it's gone. Triple and a home run before Maeda can blink, and the Padres lead at 2-0.
What a different a night makes. These guys are swinging it right here. Deep count to Jankowski, and not a very deep count to Hosmer. Breaking ball that he stayed right on and through. The only question was it going to hook foul, and it didn't.
So 2-0, and Christian Villanueva now fouls back the first pitch. Yeah, if you watched last night's game, you know Villanueva the star of the show when it comes to these Monterrey, Mexico fans. Villanueva from Guadalajara, the only active player on either roster born in Mexico, and is having a great season so far. It's cooled off a little bit lately, but in the top 5 in the National League in several categories. Grew up in Jalisco, which is about 500 miles from here. Every Sunday, the field in the middle of town hosts a pickup game for the best amateurs in town. A lot of those are retired Mexican League players, most of them in their 20s and 30s. But Villanueva started playing in that league when he was 13 years old. Wow. You've got all these veterans that have spent decades playing pro ball who are now retired but still very competitive. And then this 13-year-old Christian Villanueva going at it with him. And so he said it's part of why there's never been a stage for him as a pro, even when it was stacked against him, like when he was behind Beltre in the Rangers system, behind Bryant in the Cubs system, released and picked up on a minor league deal. Never a moment where he's really been scared. Because heck, when you're 13 going against a 35-year-old, it's hard to get scarier than that.
He's a very strong man, and he's got a very quick bat. Watching him on that one foul ball here against Maeda reminded me a little bit of Gary Sheffield. Not quite as much of a waggle, but boy, really quick.
Pops this one up the right center. At Kemp. One out.
Kenta Maeda just turned the page on the 2 runs. It's a long way to go.
Up comes Franchi Cordero. For Maeda, it's kind of a repeat of the game in San Francisco on Sunday when he gave up the 3 runs in the first inning. And it's a theme throughout all of his starts so far. Every run that he's allowed in his first 5 starts has been in the first 3 innings. His first pitch to Cordero is in the dirt for ball 1. How far into a season do you need to get with a number like that, where all your runs are coming at the start of the game before you have to think about altering your pregame preparation or something early in the game?
We saw that with Rich Hill this year. And you would think about it if you're Kenta. When it's happening over the first 3 innings and not specifically the first inning, you might look at how you're approaching the first time around in the order. Am I saving a weapon that I need to use in that first time around the order to get people out? And with Kenta, you think about his history. You think about when he really started to get more aggressive and really understand how he wanted to be on the mound, is when he went to the bullpen and he tried to bring that bullpen mentality into the game. So it is odd.
Bounce to first, Bellinger to the bag for out number 2. Yeah, last year he had an ERA around 7 in the first inning. And came into the year, as we've talked about, saying that he was trying to remember reliever Kenta, the guy that he was in the postseason, and admitted that he had paced himself to last deeper into games as a starter prior to what he learned from those big bursts out of the bullpen.
Yeah, today, the deep count to Jankowski that started with ball 1, ball 2, you have to analyze that and say, was I trying to get too much into my rhythm and I should have been attacking right away? And the 3-2 pitch gets to be the triple. And then Hosmer was a basic steal and a strike with a breaking ball, but Hosmer wasn't going to let anybody rob him there, and he attacked it.
Maeda attacks Rafi Lopez with a fastball for a strike. Andy Green, third-year manager of the Padres, signed a long-term extension this offseason. They think that he's the guy that they want to lead this franchise out of the doldrums in this rebuild. They're doing it through a farm system that's considered one of the best in baseball. Oh, 2. Got him with a changeup, and that's the inning. The Padres strike first in this one on an Eric Hosmer home run. We're off and rolling in Monterey with San Diego in front 2-0. Made a few trips to Mexico and exhibition play over the years, including once here to Monterey. Second series they've played outside of the U.S. and Canada, having started the 2014 season. In Australia, Matt Kemp with a high drive to straightaway center into the batter's eye. A monster shot to open the second. He has owned his old team so far this season. His third home run against San Diego.
That was a blast. He has been hitting so far this year with runners in scoring position, one of the best. Right there, you're in scoring position as soon as you step in the batter's box.
The Dodgers on the board against Mitchell. 2-1 now. And here's Jock Peterson. He watches the first pitch in their strike one. It was enjoyable visiting with Commissioner Rob Manfred last night, talking about Major League Baseball's interest in expanding internationally, whether that's just series abroad like this one or the one the next couple of years in Japan. Plans to play in England in coming years. And even some discussion about expanding permanently. Here's a bouncing ball that Hosmer tries to stab, but it gets by him, and Peterson's aboard. But very much in play is the idea of expanding Major League Baseball to a franchise in Mexico or another franchise in Canada.
He sure is. He sounds like he wants to even up the leagues at 16 apiece. Take a look at Jock Peterson, and I think they will rule that a hit, but it hasn't gone up yet.
Two-one game. Here's Chase Utley, who has a triple against Mitchell and had a triple last night. The most often spoken about city in Mexico to host a major league team is Mexico City. One that you hear most about in Canada is a team going back to Montreal. And there's some cities in the U.S. that frequently come up. Nashville is one of them. Charlotte, San Antonio, you've heard about some. Shot foul, it's 1-1.
My first big league inning was in Montreal. September call-up, 1983. First batter I faced was Gary Carter. Montreal was always a fun city to go visit. Take the metro from the hotel area down to the stadium.
Comes Mitchell's 1-1. Taken to the dirt ball, too. Talking about the timeline on expansion, Rob Manfred said basically first they want to figure out the situations in Oakland and in Tampa Bay, where they are trying to figure out new stadiums. Wants all 30 current franchises to be as healthy as possible before they add a couple. Utley bangs one on the ground that Galvis shovels with his glove to a Suaje, and he turns a double play. Fancy glove work up the middle to wipe the bases clear. 2 gone.
This is why teams shift. Defense is much more well positioned in the infield when you have all the data, and then the ball is hit on the ground, even when it's hit that hard.
Here's Muncy with 2 out. One of those 2 home runs on his line came against San Diego. Another one came on this road trip against Arizona. Able to lay off 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, expansion would probably involve revamping the divisions. And if a team were to move to Mexico City or a new franchise were to be there, there's a good chance that could wind up in the Dodgers division. 2-2 on Muncie.
It would definitely create some natural rivalries. San Diego and Los Angeles for sure.
Mitchell's 2-2. Muncie able to lay off, full count.
It'd be like going back to Brooklyn for the Dodgers, for the fans that are living, that are from Mexican descent in LA and have had most of their life there or have just come over as the first generation. You might have people there that are rooting like the Dodger Giant stuff back in New York.
Muncie earns the 2-out walk. Mitchell's issued one in both innings.
Households divided. Sorry, Joe.
It's okay. Don't do it again, or we're going to have a booth divided. Here's Maeda, whose first career hit was a home run against these Padres in his first career Major League game. One ball, no strikes. Little did he know he'd go another 2 years without one. And he's made jokes about how he's due to hit another.
That's what he gets for putting that home run bat in his trophy case, not continuing to use it.
Shoots this one to right field. Franchi Cordero plays it on a bounce, and Maeda with a 2-out single. Muncie, good hustle, gets to third.
Muncie thought he caught it out there. He eased up coming around second like it was the end of the inning because he only saw the one hop and go into the glove. So he was busting it to second. Comes around the bag, kind of glanced over his shoulder, saw the ball go in the glove, the Maeda's line drive, and he was just easing into third, but the Padres didn't catch on it at all.
So forget what I said about the hustle thing.
Well, he hustled because he realized, like, oh no, this is still in play. So that's the part you saw.
So a walk and a single from the bottom two men in the order here with 2 out against Mitchell, and it gives Chris Taylor an opportunity to tie this game. Cutter outside, ball 1.
Mitchell avoided the giving up a run in the first inning, but he hasn't been able to avoid setting the table for the Dodgers with walks. 1 in each inning.
1 ball, 1 strike. The guy from Reidsville, North Carolina, Brian Mitchell. Here comes to the 1-1. Taylor bangs a base hit to left to tie the game. The Dodgers string it together with 2 out, and even the issue at 2.
Well, and the 2 outs came on a Chase Utley bullet for a double play, so these have not been soft contact at all. Chris Taylor with one through the 6 hole there that was hit just as hard as Utley's double play. Muncie easily cruises home.
So in this inning, yeah, I mean, it's been homer, single, double play, which was smoked, walk, single, single.
And we haven't seen the curveball that led to a strikeout with Verdugo the high fastball and then Bellinger the curveball down. He's really kept the curveball in his back pocket, predominantly throwing the fastball and the cutter.
First and second, 2 gone, Verdugo. Here comes Mitchell. Through the curve, strike 1.
Darren Balsley went out to the mound, and that might have been what he told him. Hey guys, you know, I'm sitting over here watching you give up bullet after bullet. I'd like to see an off-speed pitch every once in a while.
Use one for strike one, and on an 0-1 goes to the fastball. It's low and inside, 1-1. And the 21-year-old Verdugo. Birthday coming up, though, a couple of weeks. '22 is not much of a birthday, though. I mean, not really any landmark there. 21's fun, but I guess any birthday's fun when you're in the majors.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, that'll make it a little bit more special. And in Alex's case, you're going to probably see the salary continue to jump as he goes through a few of these birthdays. So yeah, they'll get more fun, and I think the gifts will even get bigger. Even the ones he'll probably give himself.
First and second, 2 out. Mitchell's 1-2. Another curve lifted to left. Jose Perella puts it away and ends the Dodgers' second. But they even the issue at 2. The inning started on the very first pitch with a Matt Kemp home run to straightaway center field. They then tie it with a 2-out rally. Chris Taylor's RBI single, bringing home the second run. Middle 2 in Monterey.
Inning, and earlier today, Kenley Jansen, as well as Fernando Valenzuela and Jaime Jarin and Manny Margot, the outfielder from the San Diego Padres, went to what is kind of like a boys and girls club here, guys. It's Club de Niños y Niñas de Nuevo León, and they were able to dedicate new computers for their computer lab. Now, currently the computer room serves 400 children daily, but the computers at the time did not work. So Major League Baseball, the Dodgers, the Padres, Kenley, Manny, Jaime Jarin, and Fernando Valenzuela stepping up to dedicate a beautiful computer lab to some really, really awesome kids.
All right. So not just the games this weekend in Monterey. All these guys getting involved around the town as well. Maeda to Jose Perella, opening the second with a strike. We walked out with Fernando last night.
If that's what you can call that.
We got on the coattails of his security, and it was a scene. Perella hits a bounce at a third. Max Muncy with an easy play, 1 gone.
He probably had 15 to 20 security guards around him, and it kind of reminded me of the formation you see at a 5-year-old soccer game where Fernando's the ball and all the players are around it completely. And it was that whole wedge just taking him down through the crowd as they're chanting Valenzuela. Cell phones out, baseballs trying to reach over the guards to get autographed, and Fernando was squished in there like a sardine. We got down to the safe area outside the Dodger locker room, and I said, how was that? And he goes, I could barely walk. I like barely move my feet, just like tiptoe.
Freddie Galvis with one out, takes ball one. Yeah, and then, you know, what, there were probably 15 security guards or so.
Oh, at least.
12 of them peeled off.
Yeah.
And 3 of them asked for autographs. Once they got into the safe zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. In 1991, the Dodgers released Fernando Valenzuela during spring training. Angels picked him up, but released him after a couple of bad starts. And so the next year, he went to the Mexican League. Galvis hits a fly ball to right center field. Matt Kemp not going to get there. Bounces into the seats for a double. And that stint in the Mexican League included a start here in Monterrey. And he did indeed revive his career. Pitched for another 5 seasons in the majors, including 3 with the Padres. And then after that, about a decade after he finished his major league career, came out of retirement when he was 45 years old to pitch again in the Mexican League. Parts of 2 more seasons with Mexicali. Runner at second, 1 out, 2nd inning. Here's Carlos Asuaje.
One of the great things about being a broadcaster and having Fernando be a broadcaster is just to be able to hang out with the old teammate. He's got such a great sense of humor. Doesn't let on to how much English he understands or really can speak. You have to be in private for you to get that. He is a lot of fun. Used to have a lasso. A lasso? Is that how you say it? With the rope, the Cowboys? And he'd carry it around with him in his back pocket, and you'd walk, and he would rope you like a calf.
A lasso? Wouldn't that be a lasso?
A lasso, thank you. And he would rope you like a calf and kind of semi-trip you up. He wouldn't trip you, but he'd yank on it a little bit after he'd get you. And then we'd play hacky sack a lot of times and goof around from his soccer days.
One and 2. Dodgers discovered him at a Mexican League game, which Mike Brito, who's the legendary scout that found him, he was going to the game to watch somebody else, watch a shortstop in the game. Fernando happened to pitch. He was 18 at the time, caught Brito's eye. They signed him in 1979, sent him to A-ball. And he was not an instant success. Really struggled that first year in A-ball. So as Dodger fans, a lot of them know, Bobby Castillo the following spring teaches him the screwball. Bobby has said before that he was a natural right away, and Fernando's disputed that, saying it took a couple of months before he really felt like he could locate that, put it where he wanted it. And then later that season, when the Double-A manager Ducky LeJohn told Fernando that the Dodgers wanted to come up September 1980. His reaction is a priceless one. Here's a 2-2. Asuaje protects. He'll stay alive. He was battling for a Texas League title at the time, and Ducky said, "Kid, you're going to the bigs." Fernando said, "Yeah, but I want to stay here and help my team finish off the Texas League championship. Let's finish what we started, Skip." And LeJohn looked at him and said, "Are you crazy? You got no choice." So Fernando went up, debuted the next week, 2 months shy of his 20th birthday. And before Fernando Mania in 1981 is what happened in that final month of 1980. 17 innings out of the pen, 0 earned runs.
And he made a splash right away, but the Fernando Mania started at the beginning of the season when he wasn't even going to start opening day, and there was some injuries, and all of a sudden they said, "You got to go. You're going." And Off went the string of shutouts after getting a surprise first start.
There are a bunch of great stories about Fernando and you and many other Dodger pitchers in John Weissman's new book, Brothers in Arms. Just came out this week. Make sure you check that out. Another 2-2 to Carlos Suaje is slashed to left field. Verdugo's got a beat on this one for out number 2.
Dealing with some rain now out there, but the players seem to be dealing with it just fine. Verdugo on a nice path there to catch that ball.
2 out, it'll be Mitchell. It is coming down more and more heavily. Forecasts look like it's supposed to taper off as the night goes on. Forecast is wrong, at least so far. Mitchell down the line, foul. Mitchell trying to return the favor to Maeda, who's part of that 2-out rally with a base hit in the top of this inning. With Galvis at second, here comes an 0-1. Off speed for strike 2.
Glenn Hoffman's got the signs there. 2 out, 2 strike. Be on the swing, be moving. Sometimes guys on second, they're reading the pitch to see it could be a strike. They're off when they see the ball's going to be a strike.
Maeda gets him with an elevated fastball, and that does it for the Padres in the second. They strand a man at second. Fernando Valenzuela, the guest of honor this weekend. The Dodger legend. 2-2 after 2. Brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. Native of Navajoa, Mexico, Fernando Valenzuela. Prior to the game last night when he threw out the first pitch. Everybody trying to Get a peek, Fernando. 2-2 game. We open the third inning. Yasmani Grandal greeting Brian Mitchell and taking ball one low.
You mentioned how the security guards, after protecting him, wanted autographs. It seems like anybody that is in the kind of inner circle, the media, the people helping out, the stage managers, everybody's got family that you're going to be close to him. You can get this for me. He's been very busy with that left arm, and it hasn't been pitching all the time. It's been signing autographs.
Here comes a 2-0 from Mitchell. Grandal hits a bouncing ball to Carlos Villanueva, third baseman, playing on the right side for the first out. Here comes Bellinger.
Other than the rain that we've dealt with, this trip so far has gone off without a hitch. It's been fantastic. All the crews that had to come down pre-series to get things ready.
Yeah, our production crew and the operations crew, so much work behind the scenes, and not just this weekend, but in the days and the months leading up to get these games on the air.
Well, there were only a few rooms in this press box, and they had to create, 10 or 12 other positions, and with windows between, and all the different things of the construction that went on here at the stadium to improve it in so many ways, building both locker rooms out to a major league level caliber.
Three and on Cody Bellinger. Here comes Mitchell. And a 4-pitch walk, third walk that he's issued. Major league leading 26 that he's issued this season. It's the biggest baseball stadium in Mexico. Seats about 27,000. Home of the Sultanes of the Mexican League. A little bit outside of downtown, there's a soccer stadium close by. There's a bullfighting ring close by. And it's all kind of in the middle of an industrial area. Matt Kemp had a long home run his last time up. Takes ball one here. We got any stadium food yet?
I have not. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. We've got a 3 o'clock start tomorrow. We'll probably be here by at least noon. So, yeah, right around lunchtime.
Taco time.
I've only eaten tacos and quesadillas since I've been here.
Win and roll, Morrill.
Yep.
There goes Bellinger. Throw down to second. Not in time. He's stolen a bag and a man in scoring position for Kemp.
Yes, Cody Bellinger plays first base, but he doesn't, of course, run like a first baseman, one of the fastest Dodgers.
Kemp, who's been one of the best hitters in baseball this year with men in scoring position, as you mentioned, they're in his first at bat. Has an opportunity to give the Dodgers their first lead of the day here. Mitchell deals down and away, and it's 2-1. They had initially put 2-0 up on the board, but 2-1, the count on Kemp. Dodger President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman set to join us very soon. On a 2-1, Kemp turns on it, pulls a base hit to left center. Bellinger will score without a throw, and the Dodgers from down 2-0 to up 3-2 in a hurry.
Matt Kemp continues to swing a hot bat, and especially when there are men in scoring position. Not resting on his first AB home run, but belting this ball about just as hard, but in the gap on a line. Pick up Bellinger and makes that stolen base pay off.
Have you noticed that they have a lot of the players walk-up songs?
I have not noticed that. Cool.
Jock's a favorite of yours, I know, the middle.
Don't test me, please.
It's #1 right now.
Really?
Billboard charts, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not on my classic station.
It's not a classic yet.
Yeah.
Andy Green, it looks like, perhaps already going to make a move. Brian Mitchell still searching, trying to find it for the Padres in his first season in San Diego. Not going to make it out of the third inning here. Dodgers getting at least 3 against him. Kemp at first, his responsibility. Back to Monterey in a moment. Made a start against the Dodgers this year. Comes out of the bullpen here. We promised you Andrew Friedman was going to join us, and here he is, cramming into our little booth here. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's the weekend been for you so far?
It's been great. You know, fortunately, we've been able to hold the weather off a little bit, but the ballpark, what they did with it, the passion of the fans, it's really been incredible, and you don't really know what to expect coming in.
Right.
And it's exceeded all expectations in terms of, you know, just from every angle.
About an hour before the game, we saw you guys all huddled down there. Was that to decide whether we're going to start on time or not tonight?
Exactly. Just looking at the forecast and talking about, you know, obviously we didn't want to start and then stop. But just looking at the forecast and thinking about last night where it got so close to us stopping that game. But they felt like we'd get a window and it would be, you know, just kind of light drizzle throughout.
Jock Peterson, 1-on-1 out, swings at the first pitch, pops it up into left field. Jose Pereira coming on, still coming, and makes a running catch with Kemp wandering off of the bag and a double play. That will end the inning. Andrew, thanks for coming. I'm kidding. He's going to stick around with us as this game goes to the bottom of the third with the Dodgers up 3-2. Folks trying to get in there to get their Dodger gear. Welcome you back inside, Joe, Oral, and Andrew. And I mean, quite a special way for this Mexico series to begin with a combined no-hitter last night, huh?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Obviously walked through the ball really well. You know, he's come up and done, you know, what you hope for, but you don't really know until you see a guy go through a major league lineup multiple times. But he was great, and obviously our pen, you know, ironically, the Ryu injury kind of helped reset our pen a little bit. You know, it kind of helped bring everyone together, and Baez came out and went 2 2/3, and from there we've been rolling.
Travis Jankowski, top of the order for the Padres. No balls, 2 strikes.
Off season, you plan for every possible situation. Could you ever plan for what's happened here early in the season with all the injuries?
No, not really, but you do try to plan, and you know, we've talked about this a lot, that kind of the invisible hand, the 26th man, is the depth, and you know, it's something that no one really appreciates in the off season, but you know, you get a chance to see it over the season, and it helps keep your head above water while guys are working their way back. You know, we've seen this team respond to adversity year after year, month after month, all the different things that have gone on. And this group, we just haven't seen that quite yet. It doesn't mean it won't happen. We fully expect it to happen. We just haven't quite seen that. You know, everything kind of syncs up. It felt like in years past when we had some adversity, the various components of our roster synced up even more so. And we just haven't quite seen it yet. We haven't quite gotten into that rhythm, but we're seeing it a little bit more here and there, for sure.
What do you attribute, you just mentioned the bullpen kind of getting reset the last few days and being really good, but after a really rough week, which makes it easy to forget how good they were for a couple weeks, to drive down the right field line towards the pole for Jankowski, and it is foul. What do you attribute the streakiness of the bullpen, the hot and cold nature of the pen too so far?
It's a good question. We've spent a lot of time trying to put our finger on it, and obviously there are, you know, just crude kind of cursory looks of, you know, while we were doing really well, just simply said, just coming out of the pen and getting ahead. Going 0-1, we were one of the best in the league, and during that 9-game stretch where we really struggled, we were second from last. And so we were getting into bad counts and, you know, just having to come more over the center of the plate to get back into counts, and we were paying for it with damage.
Talk about the team syncing up after the injuries and things. It's hard to duplicate the impact that Bellinger made last year and Taylor made that last year, but Verdugo is coming up and making an impact right away.
Yeah, he really is. He brings a lot of energy to our club, and he plays with a lot of confidence. You know, can move around, play all 3 outfield spots, and you know, we've seen some of his tools and his ability in this week plus, but he's a really good player who's continuing to get better. The arrow is pointing up for sure.
Do you see him sticking around moving forward?
I don't know. We look forward to trying to answer that question once we start getting guys back. But he's certainly provided a real spark for us here in the last week plus.
1 gone for Eric Hosmer. Dodgers in front 3-2, bottom of the 3rd inning. Visiting with Andrew Friedman. Maeda's first one is high, ball 1. Same question for Walker Buehler. How have things been altered, both with the injuries and with his performance, when you know he doesn't have an unlimited number of bullets? How have things changed and how you plan to approach his season?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you're planning it out in the off season and spring training, you don't know exactly when or how things are going to play out. You know, without the Ryu injury and Rich coming back, we were going to send him back after the start last night and continue to kind of watch his innings and monitor them. But obviously with the Ryu injury, it changed things. And so he's going to stay with us for the foreseeable future. And, you know, hopefully we can get to a point at some point where we can give him a little bit of a blow and keep him strong for the finish of the season, hopefully all the way through October.
1-2 on Hosmer.
We've been on the topic of the bullpen, and it got its first blow in the Tom Kohler injury in spring training, and then Scott Alexander, that was supposed to have some significant leverage innings, had to go down to kind of work himself out. How are those 2 guys doing right now?
They're doing well. Tom started his throwing program, and you know, he's still a ways away, but everything, you know, the reports have been great. He's felt great. He's responding really well to things as we continue to advance them. And with Alexander, it's a little bit like Kenley as well. Both had, you know, a little minor injury in spring training, and you sometimes forget just how much that can affect the kinetic chain. And for both guys, just getting a little bit out of whack mechanically, Kinley's worked through it for the most part. Nice ball. You know, Kinley's worked through it for the most part up here. And Scotty, it's just taken a little bit longer to get him synced up and back to where he was last year. And we've really made progress on it. Last night, I think, was the best outing he's had in 2018. Just the velocity, the sync, the command. And so it was really encouraging.
Christian Villanueva with 2 out. All the reports on Corey Seager's surgery yesterday positive.
Yeah, it went extremely well. It's as good as you could hope for, and they went in, and Dr. Elitrush felt really confident coming out of it.
You know, it was fun watching the no-hitter last night and then getting a text from some of the guys in the minor leagues that really helped the organization. Not enough credit goes to those guys as we continue to see the reinforcements come up.
Totally agree. Those are guys that, you know, or you got to see at some in spring training, just how much they grind, the hours, the travel, the brain power committed to trying to get the most out of our guys. And they have played a significant role in the success of this team the last couple years and will continue to in the future. And you're right, they don't get enough credit for what they do.
And then in 2 on Christian Villanueva with the Dodgers in front, 3-2 in the bottom of the 3rd. Having gotten 2 in the 2nd and 1 in the 3rd after the 2-run homer for Hosmer put San Diego in front in the 1st. You know, as baseball fans, anytime injuries happen, the first thing that we do is try and concoct these big blockbuster trades to fix it. Is that something that happens in your mind too initially, that you have to fight the instinct on, or have you trained yourself to react differently?
No, I think we're always kind of thinking about, you know, different fits with other teams. The problem is the calendar. It's hard in early May to get other teams to engage. There aren't enough teams aggressively looking for players such that you, as a seller, just don't feel like you have a full market yet and don't really appreciate the market. And they also want to assess their roster and think they have some chance and want to wait until they get more into the summer. But no, I think naturally our mind goes there as well.
Andrew, as always, we appreciate the time, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
3-2 Dodgers after 3.
Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS.
Dave Roberts and the Dodgers trying to win their 4th in a row. They're up 3-2 to the 4th inning. Thanks again to Andrew Friedman for taking the time to visit with us. Chase Utley leads this inning off against Robbie Erlin, whose first pitch is a strike. So Erlin is on for Mitchell, and doesn't it kind of seem like Brian Mitchell's days on the Major League club may be numbered at this point with the words that you heard out of Andy Green after his last start and how quick of a hook they had him in this one?
He did not avoid the walk. He did not avoid being hit hard, and they got him out of there quickly. And you're right. And the quotes about he needs to step up and start showing some production, that's pretty much laying it on the line. And sometimes managers will voice a stronger opinion when maybe their voice is not being heard in the front office, or as far as roster decisions quite as dramatically as they would like. So they will step out in the media sometimes a little bit to cause some momentum.
Two and two on Chase Utley. Leading off this fourth inning against Robbie Erlin, who rocks and deals. Utley grounds it foul. Erlin, 27 years of age, out of Oakland, California. Made a start against the Dodgers in that series in April. But he's been out of the bullpen outside of that. Utley's worked it full. It's Erlin's fourth year with Major League time. He had 30 games out of the bullpen 2013 through 2016, then missed almost 2 full years following Tommy John surgery before returning this year. Promised himself on his first day back throwing that he wouldn't allow any hesitation. He was going to trust the surgery 100%. Said to himself that if it wasn't fixed right, he was going to find out eventually. So might as well not hold anything back, not baby it. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. Kind of break through that muscle tissue in the brain, so to speak. Bouncing ball to first that Hosmer will take to the bag for the first out of the fourth.
Not a rarity for Erlin to get a ground ball. He leads all Major League relief pitchers with a ground ball rate of 81%. It's almost double the Major League average.
Something that a lot of these Padres pitchers do well. Max Muncy comes up with one out. It's kind of a wonder that their overall numbers aren't better. It's ball one. Padres have suffered 7 straight losing seasons. It's been 12 years since their last postseason trip. They won back-to-back division titles in 05 and 06. There are only 2 longer droughts alive right now. It's been since 03, since the Marlins have gone. It's been since 01, since the Mariners have gone. Both those seasons, landmark seasons for those teams. Marlins, of course, winning the World Series, beating the Cubs in that famous 7-game series. That was the Bartman series, before going on and beating the Yankees. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Muncy. The 01 Mariners team is the one that set the all-time regular season wins record. Erlin home with a 2-2. Muncy grounds an opposite field base hit. Walked and scored his first time. Now he's got a 1-out single. Continues to produce when called upon by Dave Roberts.
Not the easiest thing to be a part-time player and keep your timing, but Muncy, a very simplistic swing, not a lot of moving parts, does a very nice job keeping it together.
Brings up Maeda. Single is part of that 2-out rally in the second inning. Here he's showing bunt. Corners come crashing in. He pulls back and grounds it to Erlin. They get 1 at second and a double play. To the bottom of the fourth we go. Dodgers up 3-2. T-Mobile presents Hats Off for Heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, T-Mobile stands ready to serve all military families. Yesterday with the first no-hitter in Major League history outside the U.S. and Canada. There have been 5 no-hitters in Canada, including, we talked about Dave Stewart's no-hitter in 1990 on the same day that Fernando Valenzuela threw his no-hitter against St. Louis. The story behind that one is Fernando was walking out towards the bullpen to warm up, and somebody in the video room said, "Hey, Fernando, did you see Dave Stewart finished off his no-no?" Fernando poked his head into the room and said, "Good for him. You guys watched that one on TV. Now you're about to watch one in person." And he wasn't kidding.
That was his dry sense of humor. It's just, he is so quick-witted and very relaxed on the days that he pitched. And boy, did he love to hit.
Fernando, 10 home runs throughout his career. Took pride in what he did as a pinch hitter, too. 5 for 15 lifetime as a pinch hitter.
He hit for power. He knew how to hit for average. He's one of those guys, even as a pitcher, the swing was so refined that he could hit it away from the defense, could get the runner over from second to third without the bunt. All kinds of ways that he could beat you in a baseball game.
The 1981 season, one of the most famous individual seasons, not just in Dodger history, but in baseball history, when you consider the fact that he won Cy Young and Rookie of the Year in the same season. Something that never been done before, hasn't been done since. Franchi Cordero takes ball 1 from Kenta Maeda here in the 4th inning with the Dodgers in front 3-2.
Huge impact on the Dodger fan base. I think Richard Moss was his agent, and when Fernando went to arbitration, and really it was Dick Moss who went to arbitration for Fernando, and they proved that he made a huge impact on the turnstiles. Over 10,000 people for every one of Fernando's starts, above and beyond what the average was, and that was one of the main reasons, other than the great production on the field, his pitching, that Fernando won his arbitration case. One of the first guys in arbitration to get $1 million.
You mentioned it earlier, that 1981 season. He went into it with a big spring training, and what he did in September looking like he was going to be part of the rotation, but not anywhere near opening day starter until the injuries started happening. That's high and 3-1 on Cordero, and I mean they felt like flies. Bob Welch got a bone spur in his elbow. Dave Goltz came down with a virus. Bert Hooten had an ingrown toenail. Jerry Royce 1 day before opening day re-aggravated a calf injury, and so they said, hey, Fernando, you've got it tomorrow. That's a leadoff walk for Cordero. And on that opening day against Houston, complete game shutout. First 8 starts in the majors that year for Fernando Valenzuela. He was 8-0, had 5 shutouts, 9 innings at least in all 8 games. A couple of them went into extras. Leadoff man on in front of the catcher Lopez. Finished that rookie season 13-7 with a 248. It was all as a 20-year-old. Strike one. Then into the postseason. 4 starts before the World Series. He was just like he was during the regular season. Had a sub-2 ERA. And took the ball in Game 3 of the World Series with the Yankees ahead 2-0. Didn't have his best stuff. He gave up 9 hits. He walked 7. But despite that, threw a complete game on 147 pitches and a 5-4 Dodger win. The first of 4 in a row to win that World Series, 4-2. And even though the line wasn't pretty, he calls that game, along with his opening day start that year, as the 2 favorite moments of his career. Ida deals 1-1. And a changeup flip foul, 1-2.
I remember a very famous start that he had against Dwight Gooden, Dodgers Mets, and both pitchers coming into it with very high resumes, and both of them loaded the bases in the first inning, each one of them with no outs, and both struck out to the side to get out of the inning in the first. And at the end of the first, it was 0-0. 6 men left on base combined.
Huh. His no-hitter and the combined no-hitter last night, 2 of the 23 the Dodger franchise has had. It's far and away the most of any. Didn't miss by much, 2-2. Of course, they've been around a lot longer, but the Dodgers have 23 no-hitters. The Padres still don't have one. Leadoff man on here in the 4th, and a 2-2 to Lopez. He got him swinging for the first out. Let's check in with Alana.
Guys, the Dodgers used 4 different pitchers last night in their combined no-hitter, but that's not the most amount of pitchers ever used. For that, you'd have to go back to 2003. The Houston Astros against the New York Yankees. They used 6 different guys to get their combined no-hitter. It started with Roy Oswalt, and it finished with Billy Wagner.
Same thing the Mariners had to do against the Dodgers when they did their combined no-hitter a few years back. Here's Pereira with 1 on and 1 out. Takes ball 1. You mentioned it last night, but the first combined no-hitter in baseball history is probably the one that brings the biggest smile. 1917, Fenway Park. Babe Ruth was on the mound for Boston. Babe walks the leadoff man. It didn't like a couple of the borderline calls that went against him. Runner takes off, a swing and a miss, a throw down, bounces into center. Cordero's headed for third, and he'll get there. Believe they may call interference on Pereira.
He fell across the plate, and Grandal made contact with him. Andy Green wants to talk about it, but Oh, the bat. The back swing of the bat. He has hit Grandal in the past on the helmet when Grandal is staying down, but when you're throwing the ball and coming up and going to second, instead of it hitting you in the back of the helmet, it hits you on your back, and that definitely disrupts the throw. As you see Yasmani kind of arches back, like, can I get that pain out of there?
Boy, he has taken a beating this year, hasn't he? I mean, every catcher does, but it seems like him more than usual.
And you know, he got off to such a hot start, but is kind of hitting a little skid in the batter's box now, and with that, that can be some of those aches and pains as you get beat up behind the plate. Kind of filters into your hitting mechanics.
So they sent Cordero back to first and a ball and a strike on Perela, who didn't want us to learn about the first combined no-hitter. That's a fastball for strike two. So Babe Ruth upset about a couple of calls. First batter of the game. Starts to argue with the home plate umpire, Brick Owens. Owens ejects him. Ruth charges after him. Catcher tries to stop him. He starts swinging around the catcher trying to hit Brick Owens and connects with the side of his head. But at this point he's already been thrown out. And he's Babe Ruth, so he can do what he wants. Well, a guy named Ernie Shore, who had a great major league career but was always kind of in Babe Ruth's shadow, comes in for the Babe. Leadoff base runner erased on a caught stealing on the first pitch that Shore throws. And Shore proceeded to retire the next 26 in order. The newspaper headline the next day, Shore is not hit, umpire is by Ruth. That is the first combined no-hitter, 1917.
That was great when you told that story yesterday, because after the game was over and we have the combined no-hitter, we go back to the hotel and a whole bunch of the front office had kind of gathered around in the lobby, and I told that story and they had never heard it. So when you're impressing baseball people that know the game inside and out, you found a really good story.
I hope you took full credit.
I did not. I said that you did the research, I did the listening.
Close play this time. Cordero's in there.
But if you're giving me permission to take the credit next time, I'll just forget the part about it. And Joe told the story.
Yeah, at this point, I think you just know the story. It doesn't matter where you heard it.
Well, no, I think that's inappropriate.
I'm giving you permission. So
all right. I won't overuse it.
I don't think I have the story copyrighted or anything, so feel free.
It's a good one.
2-2. Hit on the ground into center, base hit. And Cordero will wind up at third on a single from Perela. So the Padres threatening against Maeda here in the fourth.
Perela go after some balls away like that. He likes the ball in the inner half, and the Dodgers have gotten it to the correct place to get him out, but this one he has enough swing left. His first at bat. He was out there on a pitch like that and grounded out. That one he was able to shove up the middle.
Now these two guys in Perela and Galvis, who's coming up now. Remember when we went to San Diego in mid-April, these were the guys we were featuring to start the first broadcast because they were two of the hottest hitters in the National League, but both ice cold really starting with that series. Galvis takes ball one. See, the average right now is at 235. It was at 316 to open the Dodgers series in April. For Perela, his is down around 200 as well. He was at 324, leading the league in hits opening that series. A pop-up down the left field line. Verdugo back at first, now into foul ground, able to make a sliding catch, but it allows Cordero to come in to tie the game.
Absolutely tremendous catch. It had to be a spectacular catch because the beginning of the route had a little bit of a hump in it. Alex Verdugo thought this ball was hit deeper, so he started back towards the warning track, then rounded himself back this way, ended up in the second warning track, sliding and contacting the wall, but catching the ball anyway.
And at this stage of the game, you take the out and allow the run?
For sure. If we are in the 8th or 9th, then you might think about letting that drop. But yes, at this stage in the game, you definitely want to take the out.
So tied up at 3. And with 2 out, it's the 8-hitter, Carlos Suaje. Suaje, after lining out his first time, hitless in his last 15 at-bats. Guy that started the season as their second baseman, but as Franchi Cordero has come on in the outfield, they've moved Perela from the outfield to second. And Suaje now just getting spot duty. 0-2.
Watching Alex make that catch takes me back to the conversation with Andrew Friedman and thinking about, is he going to be here all year or not? And he said he brings a lot of energy. He's got great hustle, producing at the plate. Young man has definitely proven that this game is not too fast for him up here.
Light rain continues to fall here in the 4th inning. Runner takes off on a swing and a miss for strike 3 that ends the inning. But the Padres tie the game, getting 1 against Maeda. To the 5th we go, 3-3.
Monday, May 13th, when the Dodgers close out the series with the Reds, the first 40,000 attendants will receive Mother's Day cosmetic bags, compliments of Cedars-Sinai. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
You really have come a long way with your pronunciation of Sinai.
I appreciate it. I'm going to practice again. Cedars-Sinai.
Yep, no longer trying to poison our mothers.
You're supposed to do that off air. Kid me about that.
We're on the air now.
Yes, we're on the air.
Robbie Erlin getting that mound fixed in a 3-3 game.
You got to remember, I was academically ineligible at Bowling Green State University in Ohio my freshman year, so I'm just still trying to catch up, Joe. Maybe by the time I'm 60, by September, I'll catch up.
That's a big one coming.
Thank you. I shouldn't have mentioned it.
No, that's
a big 6-0, yeah.
Yeah.
60 is the new 40.
That's what I've heard. I just heard it for the first time when you said it, but
okay.
Any big plans?
Dana has given me permission to pick out my dream car.
Okay.
And so I have been building cars online and perusing everywhere I go. So she hasn't given me a budget yet, but she's given me permission. So come on, stock portfolio.
First world problems over here.
Exactly. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard because I usually buy used cars. I buy cars with that like 5,000 to 10,000 miles on them usually. So he's like, no, I want you to get a new car.
Erlin's happy with that mound. Dodgers getting ready to come to bat in a tie game with the top of the order. Chance to win their 4th in a row here. Get back to within a game of 500. And if they could do that, they'd have a chance to finish this road trip tomorrow at 500, entering a 2-game series with Arizona on Tuesday.
It just has a feeling from afar, and as you even get close to the team, that things are starting to turn. From the bullpen production and consistency to the impact of all the injuries, but now guys are kind of settling into where it's going to fit for a while. But then you're going to start to get guys healthy like Justin Turner and Logan Forsythe.
Strike one on Chris Taylor.
Andrew Friedman was very encouraged by the results that are coming back on Scott Alexander in the minor leagues. Maybe the emergence of him in the role that they were expecting.
Taylor pulls one down the line to start the 5th with extra bases into the corner. And he's started to come alive the last few days, hasn't he?
We've talked about in past broadcasts as he has struggled, but the peripherals have all said that he's going to come out of it. The exit velocity, the way he's been squaring up multiple balls in a game but not finding a way to get a hit. Now all of a sudden hitting it firmly and finding some gaps. And when the spark plug at the top gets on base and scores a run, the Dodgers seem to win a lot of games.
Tied up in the 5th. Here's Verdugo. 0 for 2 so far tonight. With the short track record he has over his first week here with the Dodgers, and 0 for 2 for Alex Verdugo feels like due.
Even if he doesn't find a hit, we know he's concentrating on getting the ball to the right side of the diamond to move Taylor over.
First one from Erlin. He bunts it. This could be a tough play. Erlin able to cut it off, making a nice play to get Verdugo, but it does advance the go-ahead run to 3rd.
That is well done right there. With a left-handed starter, Erlin didn't fall off very far to the 3rd base side because this was a very accurate bunt. And Erlin fielded his position perfectly. If the pitcher doesn't get that, that's a base hit.
So the go-ahead run 90 feet away as Grandal comes up with the infield pulled in. Alex Verdugo continues to make winning plays. That is strike one on Grandal. It's not just the base hits. The base running won the Dodgers a game in Arizona. And here he moves the go-ahead run into 3rd base.
And he raises Yasmani Grandal's average about 100, 150 points with the infield drawn in.
That's inside, and it's 2-1.
Andy Green pulling the infield in here even early in the game because they have such a tough time scoring runs. So he knows the value for his particular team, even at this juncture in the game, that he has to cut it down as many as he can.
Grandal swings and misses. And we had a few different counts. I guess it was 1 and 2. It went back and forth a couple times. That was strike 3, and a big second out for Robbie Erlin.
High Cheese gets it by him. We had talked about how Yasmani had started out so hot at the beginning of the year and really helped carry this offense. Has hit a little bit of a skid.
So it's up to Bellinger with 2 out. Dodgers trying to take advantage of that leadoff double from Taylor. And Bellinger looks at a first pitch strike. Had a hit and an RBI in all 3 games in Arizona that he played in. It's a high fly ball to center field. Jankowski settles under it, and the Dodgers unable to take advantage of Taylor's leadoff double. We are halfway home in Monterey and tied at 3.
All-access look at the Dodgers' first ever regular season series in Mexico. Plus, Dodger great Fernando Valenzuela is celebrated in his home country. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Cadillac, Friday after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
Tied at 3 to the bottom of the 5th inning. Joe Orald on Alana. Kenta Maeda to face a pinch hitter here. It's Manuel Margot. He's getting the day off out of the starting lineup, but hitting in the pitcher's spot to lead off the 5th. He takes strike 1. Margot has something in common with Fernando Valenzuela. They're both one of 12 siblings. Ball and a strike for Margot. He had 2 sisters, 9 brothers. 3 of his brothers signed pro baseball contracts like he did. All center fielders, all learned the game from their father, Emmanuel. It's bunted foul, and it's 1-2. It's only 23 years old, Manuel Margot, already in his 2nd pro season, and they think among the young position players, this guy has a chance to be the biggest star of them. Two and 2. Everyday leadoff man for San Diego last year at .263. On base percentage above 300, right around league average. Leadoff spot's been a problem this year, though. Strikes out swinging here. Maeda's got his 6th K for the first out of the 5th inning.
Has been kind of bobbing and weaving in this game. Hasn't been his sharpest game, but he's got a chance to put the Dodgers in position to win it with the tie score here if he can get out of this inning.
Third time through the order now. Here's Jankowski, who got married last fall and then honeymooned in Mexico. One ball, one strike. Punch to third, Muncy. 2 up, 2 down. Well, it wasn't looking good to start the afternoon as Kenta Maeda gave up a triple to the leadoff man and then a 2-run homer on the first pitch to Eric Hosmer, but just 1 run since, and pitch count still at just 79 with 2 out in the 5th.
Got a chance for his second 3 up, 3 down inning. Got that accomplished in the 3rd, and now here we are in the 5th. A little traffic in the other innings.
Hosmer takes strike 1.
Great time to face Hosmer, the RBI production guy, and 2 out, nobody on, tie game. Pitch him tough.
Maeda threw his wine and home of the 1-1. Hosmer bangs a bouncing ball to Bellinger, who will feed Maeda. That does it on a 1-2-3-5. Oh, are you hungry?
Oh, yeah.
Delivery and the Kesha entrance song on for the 2nd night in a row. And the 16th time this season. Matt Kemp coming to the plate, having gone way deep his first time tonight. We see it on our Carl scan.
Dead central up into the batter's eye here. Over the blue wall, into the green background. And then back on the field with the carom. Matt Kemp circled the bases.
He's also got an RBI single tonight. 3-3, 6th inning. And ball 1 from Simber. .326 average. Not quite enough at bats, but that would be among the league leaders if he did have enough. Takes a borderline strike, and it's 1-1. It put him in the top 5 in the National League. Stays alive, 1-2. Fouls it off, 1-2. His old team, Atlanta, all over the league leaderboard. They're kind of the surprise team in all of baseball right now. 19-12, second best record in the National League. Got Nick Markakis entering the day, leading the National League, hitting .333. Freddie Freeman's at .319. Ryan Flaherty is an everyday player for them now. He's in the top 10. That's just outside 2-2. Ozzie Albies, who debuted last season, little guy. He's got 10 home runs. Full count. And then Ronald Acuna, top prospect in their system, one of the top prospects in baseball, just made his debut and is off to a good start. Dodgers will see the Braves in early June. Kemp down on strikes to open the 6th.
Saw an article on MLB.com about Nick Markakis maybe having an outside shot at having 3,000 hits. 34 years old. He has 2,094. And he's had a resurgence as far as opportunity and health and feeling the best he has in a long, long time. And so he'll be playing another 6 years or so. It's not a quiet chance if he plays every day.
Jock Peterson watches one that looks like it rises into the zone from that low arm slot.
87, 88 mile an hour two-seamer, sinker, submariner right down there, and then also the slider. But he does throw that kind of upshoot pitch.
Talked about it yesterday when he came in, but he used to be just a shortstop that happened to have a lower arm slot, and his dad, who is a big baseball fan, said, "Humor me, son. Why don't you pretend to pitch to me?" Squatted down while they were playing catch one day and said, "Pitch sidearm." And it was really electric. So he took that into his next game, and at first wasn't real comfortable with it. Didn't like being different. He was a young teenager at that point that didn't feel real comfortable being the guy that was throwing differently than everybody. But soon enough, it made him him. It's inside, ball 3 on Peterson. Hey, the Pantone 294 flag is out. How do you get that baby through customs?
Wow.
Peterson down the line. That's a base hit that will get to the wall. Jock Peterson with a 1-out double. And the go-ahead run in scoring position here in the 6th.
We continue to watch Jock progress and progress as far as the consistency of the approach, the calmness in the box, and the ability to track the ball. And when he puts the barrel on it, some of the highest exit velocities on the Dodgers.
Chase Utley now. 3-3 in the 6th with Peterson at second and 1 out. Those 2 ground outs. Utley 2 for his last 19. Simber's first one. Ball 1.
Right about now in the Dodger dugout, you start thinking about, we got to win the games we're supposed to win, especially to get into a hot streak and play the Padres, who you've beat 4 in a row this year. They haven't touched you up at all, and you've got a tie game going, and it could be tight down the end, but you got to capitalize on these opportunities. There's a long conversation out there on what they want to do. It's not like Chase Utley just broke into the league. You don't know what he's looking for or what he hits well.
So Simber armed with that information. Peterson is second, one gone. Here comes a 1-0. That's up. 2 balls, no strikes.
My second thought after that long meeting was watch out Jock Peterson. Are they trying to put a play on at a pickoff? A lot of times you don't do it on the very first pitch. You let things calm down, let them forget about the meeting, and then maybe put something on.
Little bit low, 3-0. Strike one.
Chase is going to keyhole. He knows after the meeting and then after having a couple borderline pitches, building the count to 3-0, now 3-1, he knows that they're trying to kind of pitch around him. So he's not going to make an out on a pitcher's pitch.
Down the line, if it stays fair, the Dodgers would have taken the lead, but it's just foul, and it's 3-2.
He got one he liked. Fastball up inner half. You're in a hitter's count. A lot of times you're green lighting yourself on the inner half, kind of cheating on that fastball, and anything out of that quadrant you're just kind of taking.
Couple of feet. Second time in as many innings the Dodgers have had a man in scoring position with less than 2 out. Unable to cash in on Taylor's leadoff double in the 5th. Got Peterson at second with 1 gone here. Chase Utley fouls another. That's ball 4. Utley walks first and second with 1 out. We just saw Kenta Maeda dunk back down into the tunnel. He's due up after Muncy, but it appears his night may be over. They send Breivik Valera into the on-deck circle. And it looks like Simber's night may be over as well. Andy Green coming out, and he will make a change. Tied at 3, but the Dodgers threatening in the 6th.
Arms always in the 8th and the 9th. And they are thinking it's time to shut the Dodgers down. Let's go with Yates. 138 batting average says that it's going to be tough to get a hit off of him.
As we mentioned, going to break, Breivik Valera, 26th man this weekend for the Dodgers. Both teams can bring up an extra position player for this Mexico series, and it appears he'll bat for Maeda after Max Muncy hits with men at first and second and 1 out. Muncy's reached both times, walking a single. Peterson at second, Utley at first, and here comes the first one from Yates. Muncy takes a strike. The 0-1. It's inside, ball one. Arizona leads Houston 2-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning after Garrett Cole struck out 16 last night in a complete game performance. Complete game 1-hitter as the Astros took the opener of that series. Diamondbacks going through a really tough stretch of their schedule. Here comes the 1-1. Muncy takes it in the dirt. Nice stop by Lopez on ball 2.
You're not going to get a huge change of speed from Yates. It's going to be hard stuff, even his changeup. There's only a differential about 6-7 miles an hour from the fastball, slider, changeup.
That's the 2-1 fly. Ball 3 on Muncy.
6-7 mile an hour differential if your timing as a hitter is, as a left-handed hitter here, is left center gap. And if he gets you out in front slightly with that timing with the changeup or slider, you'll still be able to hit it hard and keep it fair to the right side.
2 on, 1 out, tied in the 6th. Here comes a 3-1. Muncy hits a fly ball to center field that Jankowski measures up, makes a running catch, and the runners hold. Kind of getting to that time of night or last night early on in the game where nobody could seem to find anything in the air.
Yeah, between the reflection off the humidity in the sky with all the rain and moisture we've had, and then the lighting of the sky as the sun goes down, it kind of gets that light blue glow to it. It mixes in with the baseball.
Nice opportunity here for Breivik Valera. '26-year-old from Venezuela batting with 2 out. Peterson at second and Utley at first. First one from Kirby Yates, taken high and away, ball 1. 1 for 13 in his short major league career. Debuted with the Cardinals last September. Claimed by the Dodgers early on this season. 2 on, 2 out. 1-0. Ball 2.
Hot bat behind Valera. Chris Taylor, who already has 2 hits tonight. Expect them to attack the strike zone here, 2-0.
See what Valera can do with it. Here it comes. Instead, it's low, 3-0.
Young player at the plate. I think Dave Roberts will give him the take with Taylor's bat on deck.
Taylor, a home run last night, 2 hits tonight. Tied up in the 6th inning as Yates comes home with a 3-0. And he does take a strike, 3-1. Yates, the 4th pitcher of the day for San Diego. Brian Mitchell didn't make it out of the 3rd. 1st and 2nd, 2 out, and a 3-1 is pop foul, 3-2.
3-2, 2 out. Base runners will be going. Jock Peterson will be reading the strike. Become the umpire at second base so he can get a good break.
Valera pinch hitting, trying to put the Dodgers back in front in a game that's gone back and forth. Hosmer, a 2-run home run in the 1st inning. Dodgers tied it with 2 in the 2nd. Took the lead with 1 in the 3rd. But the Padres drawing even in the 4th. There go the runners on a 3-2, and Valera slaps it foul. Calling card for Breivik Valera has been that he's very hard to strike out. More walks than strikeouts throughout his pro career. Working on Kirby Yates with 2 gone and a tie game in the 6th. The runners go again, and Valera watches ball 4. Tried to get him to chase the changeup, but he wouldn't bite. The bases are loaded for Chris Taylor.
You'd really love to bust it open right here and hand the ball to the bullpen the next inning that have started to get hot.
Speaking of getting hot, you were saying that about Chris Taylor. Seems like he's really starting to come alive towards the end of this road trip. Well, the bases loaded in a tie game in the 6th. Taylor has that one hit his hand. And they're going to say that it was only his hand and not the bat, which means the Dodgers have taken the lead, which is good, but you hold your breath on Taylor's hand.
I'm glad that Chris actually was shaking it right there before right as Dave Roberts arrived. Maybe he didn't then start wincing in pain as he was shaking it like something really could be wrong.
Take a listen.
Had one called back last night. That was against the Padres. They thought they were going to get first base.
Looks like there's a chance that was the knob of the bat. And if it is, it'll be a foul ball. Taylor will have to go back into the box. Score will have to go back to 3-3.
Oh, he might have got it early, the little fatty part of your hand there before you get into your baby finger. Kind of pinch it against the knob, who knows? I don't know if you can show enough evidence that to reverse it.
Here comes the verdict. And they're going to stick with a call. The Dodgers are going to stick with the lead, up 4-3. And more importantly, Chris Taylor staying in the game after taking that one off of the hand.
Hit by pitch and RBI for Chris Taylor. 4-3 game.
And the bases remain loaded as Alex Verdugo comes up looking for his first hit of the night. Yates to Verdugo with a fastball high. Don't you already kind of get the sense that he's a guy you feel good about in these situations that you want up there, like right here?
For sure, because he has such a good eye and makes you throw a strike. You've got the chance to get a walk.
2-0.
And he just doesn't seem to have the makeup of a young player. I mean, he's excitable. He's a hustler. He brings energy to the club. He's still learning the regimen of a big league lifestyle. But as far as in the batter's box and in this situation, it's very much the look of a Justin Turner. Very calm and composed.
Loaded up in the 6th inning. In a hitter's count, Verdugo smacks a bouncer to short for Galvis. And that does it for the Dodgers in the 6th. But they take the lead when Taylor gets hit with the bases loaded to the bottom of the 6th, 4-3. Carl's Jr. Take your mouth to Memphis, the call of Carl's.
Kenta Maeda in line to get a W here in Monterrey, Mexico. Had a solid night tonight. Continues to strike out a lot of batters. More strikeouts than innings pitched. That is new and different for him. Yes, the slider has done it, but the changeup has been outstanding. 5 innings tonight. Yes, the 3 earned runs, but he's in the lead right now. Only 1 walk and 7 Ks. Gives the Dodgers a chance to win this game.
Josh Fields comes on. The Dodgers up 4-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Christian Villanueva leads off the inning, taking ball 1. Two and 0. Getting that high part of the zone. He falls behind Villanueva 3-0.
Josh working on 2 days rest. And this Dodger bullpen, of course, functions its best when they throw strike 1. Here trying to come back in this count.
4-pitch walk opens the inning. It's not been a great road trip for Fields. Last out he didn't give up a run but a hit and a walk, and the 2 outings prior to that on the trip gave up home runs. Overall, though, as you touched on, the bullpen getting it together. 1 earned run over the last 17 2/3 innings coming in. Franchy Cordero.
You don't want to just groove one to this guy. You talk exit velocity, he's up there as far as the whole league.
Hit a 489-foot home run a couple of weeks ago. Longest a Padres hit more than 4 years. Just raw strength. This 23-year-old rookie out of the Dominican Republic on a 1-0 pitch. He hits it foul. It's 1-1.
Opposing hitters this year are hitting just above 200 off of Josh, but he has had to try and avoid the long ball.
Got a fastball by Cordero for strike 2.
Shook 3 times to get to that fastball in on the hands and executed it perfectly. Josh was out here early out in the bullpen. He does shadows every day out there. A drill that we see Clayton Kershaw do a lot and some other guys. Josh has been very dedicated to that as he has changed a few things in his mechanics this year, and he's trying to hide the ball better from the hitter. That slight turn there.
Strikes out Cordero with a changeup for the first out of the 6.
Well, he definitely convinced him that he was trying to get him out with a fastball, and then finally goes to the changeup. So speed him up, slow him down, make him miss.
Up comes Rafi Lopez in a 4-3 game in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's ball one. Dodgers trying to win their 4th in a row. Padres, meanwhile, are 4-12 in their last 16 games. 11-22 overall. Only the Cincinnati Reds sitting worse at 8-24. Reds come to Dodger Stadium as part of the 6-game homestand next week. The 2 with Arizona, the 4 with Cincinnati. And that's who Walker Buehler's next start will come against. And when he makes that start, that'll mean that each of his first 4 starts would have come against one of the worst offenses in the National League.
Even though he was kind of forced into the action because of schedule and injury, do not think it's a coincidence that after they know they need Walker up here of when they schedule him in. And they are doing a very nice job picking the games for him. Something that his ability, and as he gains experience, will probably flip. And he'll start getting the front running teams instead of the bottom guys.
Well, the whole reason for wanting to monitor his innings during the regular season is so he can be around against the best of the best in October. Andrew Friedman told us today that yes, there will come some point this summer where they're going to need to be able to pull back a little bit and get those innings under control, but that time is not right now, not with the injury to Ryu and Rich Hill easing his way back from the DL tomorrow. And with Buehler pitching as well as he is, like Dave Roberts said before the game today, we need to win games now. Here's a throw down to first, not in time.
I think the Dodgers would love to see Walker's innings end up around 130 to a max of about 150. And so they've got plenty of room right now. He's only got 16, and then you've got to add the ones that he had in the minor leagues.
Driven towards the right field corner, Rafi Lopez with a 2-run home run to flip the script on Fields in the 6th. And that is now 3 of the last 4 games Fields has given up a long ball.
And prior to those home runs start leaving the yard with Josh, he had a few scares right near the edge of the warning track. So it has not been easy and has not been giving up light contact. This one was solidly hit. And even with a little top spin on this, was driven far enough to get over the wall.
So the Padres have their first lead since Hosmer's first inning home run. And now ball one on Jose Pereira. One and one.
I don't know how many times Pereira's going to have to apologize to Yasmani this year. I mean, he's hit him like 3 or 4 times already with his backswing. They've only played 4.5 games.
Sharp pitch there for strike 2. Adam Liberatore finished off the no-hitter last night. So perhaps getting around to get some more work in. Base is empty, 1 out. Here's a 1-2 that's fouled off.
That's the residue of a bullpen that is not functioning well, and everybody's not taking care of business, because Josh Fields has a clean inning right here. Adam doesn't have to kind of stand and start stretching and start thinking about, I might have to pitch, and who knows how long that outing will be, or if he has to get up. You don't like warming up relievers multiple times and not getting them into the game, so you can even lose a piece just by having a guy warm up a little bit. Josh is struggling to find some very accurate pitches here. He's starting to rival Pedro Baez on pace between throws. Very deliberate.
Good take by Perillo to run the count full.
Dave Pelz, the ex-rocket scientist, now golf guru and teacher, would tell you that it is best if you're feeling good and you want to repeat something to get it done within 10 seconds of the last event. And so when you take this much time, it's hard to build a rhythm and to have your brain remember the movements to repeat it.
Driven down the right field line towards the foul pole and just foul. Pereira just barely misses, becoming the second Padre to take fields deep. Got some big time strength, this guy. 28-year-old, made his first opening day roster this year. Guy that came to San Diego after a few years with the Yankees and then injured his Achilles right away. Missed most of his first year. Padres decided not to renew his contract. They brought him back in a minor league deal. And started last season in AAA, but when he came up, was their best hitter. Fields gets a fastball by him for the second out of the sixth. And Adam Liberatore starts to warm.
The long foul ball down the right field line. He ran to the mound. It seemed like the phone rang right that minute. The ball went foul.
Two out, one-run game in the sixth, and the batter is Freddie Galvis. Fastball for a strike. Fly to left field. Alex Verdugo is there, and that does it for the Padres in the sixth, but they take the lead with a two-run homer from Rafi Lopez, his first as a Padre.
Arizona. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance at Dodger Stadium and take home a Justin Turner walk-off home run bobblehead presented by State Farm. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Craig Stammen into the game trying to protect a new lead for the Padres. He has struggled recently. First 8 games of the year, didn't give up a run, but he's given up a bunch over his last 5 games. Faces the heart of the Dodgers order, delivers strike 1 to Yasmani Grandal. Grandal able to flip around, bat from his better side here to start the 7th inning. Swings on a pitch that was in the dirt in front of the plate. We've seen him chase a little bit more in recent days. Go back the last 12 games and his average below 160. Strike 3.
I can see why that ball would fool Yasmani. That had some really late tailing action. Looked like it was going to be inside under his hands and just leaked back over the plate.
Cody Bellinger in a 5-4 game in the 7th. Hits the first pitch that he sees in the air to left. And it is caught by Matt Caesar, who's checked into the game. 2 up, 2 down for Stammen. Matt Kemp, home run and an RBI single. Nothing in 1. Oh, and 2.
Nice tight slider right there. Kemp reading fastball. Got him out in front and missed the barrel.
Stammen trying to go right through the heart of the Dodger order in order. Got Grandal looking. The Bellinger to fly out. Kemp swats one into center for his 3rd hit of the day. Something he's done way better this year with the Dodgers than in recent years, has used the whole field.
Not the prettiest of swings, but sure was effective. Slightly fooled, but this slider a little bit up there, so he has enough left to put some barrel on it. Touch the artificial surface in the outfield.
2-out chance for Jock Peterson. Strike 1. Peterson 2 for 3 today. Single in the 2nd, doubled and scored in the 6th. that hit 25 home runs at least in each of his first 2 major league seasons. Not hitting nearly as many fly balls this year as he has typically. But like Kemp, using the whole field better, hitting more line drives, and he's gotten back to getting on base a bunch. On a 1-1 pitch from Craig Stammen. Fouls it off 1-2.
When you've changed batting stances as much as Jock has, and changed your approach as far as energy level and what you take into the batter's box mentally, it's almost like you have to reevaluate everything that as things start to come along. You know, as the power come first, or as the average? Do you lose your eye and then all of a sudden you get comfortable again?
Chase is here, and that does it for the Dodgers in the 7th. We stretch in Mexico with the Padres in front 5-4. And Adam Liberatore finished off the combined no-hitter last night to face 8-9-1. This is high with the first one to Carlos Asuaje.
Adam's 2nd night in a row, we saw his velocity tick up last night, up to 92, 93. He had a rough outing. The outing before that and was down about 89, so I was a little concerned and just watching him, but he said it was just bad mechanics that night.
It's a swing and a foul tip here, 2-1. Little subliminal messaging a minute ago. We saw a shot of that 1957 Little League World Series team in Monterey. One of the first things that made this city love baseball. A group of kids from one of the poorest parts of town who had only been playing baseball for a couple years. Most of the time played barefoot, played with homemade balls and gloves. So back, Spellinger up, takes it to the bag for the first out of the inning. This is them after becoming the first team from outside the United States to win a Little League World Series championship. Their victory tour back home began with a stop to see the Dodgers in Brooklyn. Started that tournament just across the border in McAllen, Texas. They crossed the border by foot, walked on a bridge over to Texas, and then hitchhiked the rest of the way to their hotel. And at that point, they didn't even have any idea Williamsport existed. They just thought they were going to a tournament in the United States, which was a cool thing to begin with. Ball one on Matt Caesar, but they kept on winning. Kept on finding ways to travel to their next game, from Texas to Mississippi to Kentucky and eventually to Pennsylvania. Caesar lays down a bunt that will go foul, and it's 1-1. At one point during the tournament, before they had made it to Williamsport, their visas expired and they almost had to go home, even though they hadn't lost yet. But the U.S. ambassador to Mexico intervened and allowed them to stay. Had very little money, so they didn't eat a ton. 2 small meals a day, relied mostly on strangers giving them meals, welcoming in, and feeding the whole team. The different spots along the journey, which again ended in Williamsport, where Angel Macias, the guy that for years they'd called champion child, threw a perfect game in the Little League World Series championship to beat La Mesa, California. 2 balls and a strike on Caesar. And then that trip home that we said began with a stop at Ebbets Field, that trip took more than a month. They went to the game at Ebbets Field. Also got to go on a spending spree in Manhattan at Macy's. They were each given a $40 gift card. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They went to D.C. They got to meet President Eisenhower. Mexico City for days of celebration there, and then finally home to Monterey, where every kid was presented with a high school scholarship and with a college scholarship. And the champion child, Angel Macias, he eventually signed a pro deal with the Angels. Popped into center. Jock Peterson won't get there. And Caesar with a 1-out blue pit.
Think about Little League and throwing a perfect game. No hitters are kind of common at times, but a perfect game with all the great defense behind you. Right. Everything was executed perfectly. That's very impressive by the whole team. And not just against any competition, right? You're in the finals of the Little League World Series.
Angel Macias was 5 feet tall, not even 90 pounds. Fully ambidextrous, too. Could pitch with both hands, and did. That day, though, he chose to only pitch right-handed. It's ball 1 on Travis Jankowski. So the Monterey Little League team had their very own Pat Venditti, who's in AAA with the Dodgers, can pitch with both sides. Many of those kids had grown up Dodger fans. Roy Campanella, the old Dodger catcher, he had played here in Monterey in the Mexican League before he made his major league debut. And a lot of those kids' parents had been big fans of his team in Monterey and followed his career on to Brooklyn. So it wasn't uncommon to hear Vin Scully broadcasts here, picking up what little English that the kids here knew.
It turned out to be quite an adventure for those kids.
Made a movie out of it.
And where was school and all that, I wonder? I guess they were getting the best education they could get, though, out there on the road with all those experiences.
Summer break.
Yep. I'll tell you, I worked for ESPN for years and did the Little League World Series, and there are a lot of teams that come there that are now using like the GoFundMe page. There's a lot of teams that need money and help, and it's amazing how people step out. And even big leaguers that have come from the hometowns will step back in and send money for the teams to eat better and stay at better places, and then get on the phone with them and encourage them from Williamsport. Call the teams. It's great to look at the footage of the speakerphone in the middle and the whole team gathered around the phone and the speaker talking to big leaguers.
Runner takes off, and that is called ball 4. And so Jankowski's aboard, and Caesar's safe either way. First and second with one out against Liberatore, and Hosmer coming up. Daniel Hudson. Ball 1. Swings and misses here, 1-1. Caesar at second and Jankowski at first. That one gets by Grandal, and both runners advance.
He just flat out missed that. That'll be a pass ball. He's trying to keep it on the plate to get a called strike. Bullpen has been on a roll for about 3 games, but right here, we'll try and pitch out of this tough jam with the infield in.
They've already given up 2 on the home run allowed by Fields. Now 2-1. It's high on Hosmer, ball 3. Bases loaded.
Now he needs the double play ball. Base hit, a couple walks, kind of sets the table, but Dave Roberts going to make a move.
Daniel Hudson will come into a bases loaded jam, and the Padres already up by a run. 1 out here in the 7th. And it appears a double switch. We'll see what the other piece of that is. Hudson coming on. Back in a moment.
Hudson trying to put a 0 up here for Libator, and bullpen has already given up the home run that Josh Fields gave up, and then Josh Fields is going to need to get rescued by the offense, so he doesn't get an L, and the Dodgers don't get one. And Daniel Hudson can go a long way in helping that cause by preventing these runs.
Tough spot. Bases loaded, 1 out. Christian Villanueva, the hitter. Hitting 2 walks. Allowed by Libator. And Hudson's ready. Here he comes. Villanueva hits 1 foul. Wasn't wasting any time jumping on that first pitch.
A little hanging slider right there. Glad it was off speed and he was out front.
Oh, 1. Fastball rises, 1-1. This fan's still waiting to see Villanueva get his first hit this weekend. The Guadalajara, Mexico native on a 1-1 pitch. It's a bouncer to short. They get 1 at second and turn a double play. Daniel Hudson gets just what the doctor ordered. 6-4-3 to keep it a 1-run game through 7. Back and forth game goes to the 8th inning with the Padres in front of the Dodgers 5-4, and Chase Utley set to lead it off against Craig Stammen. Second inning of work for the right-hander, whose first pitch is a strike. Padres got the lead in the first on a Hosmer home run against Maeda. Dodgers tied it with 2 in the second, took the lead with a run in the third. After the Padres tied it in the 4th, Dodgers retook the lead in the 6th. Only to see San Diego take the lead back with a home run from Rafi Lopez in the bottom of that inning. Muncy and Farmer to follow here in the 8th inning after Hudson was able to get out of the bases loaded jam. Utley takes ball 1.
Stammen will try and work you down in the strike zone. Then he has a very effective up fastball. This year the league has the lowest well hit average on his high fastball.
Goes with a low fastball to get Utley. Third K for Stammen. And up comes Muncy.
Nice catch back there.
Strike one.
Stammen, when he's on, is an interesting predicament for hitters because a lot of times they are trying to eliminate a zone, maybe the top or the bottom, or they're trying to eliminate a side of the plate. Looks like he's commanding that two-seam fastball really well down and also knows he can go up.
Came back last year after missing a full season with an injury. Got better as the year went on. Falls behind Muncy 2-1. After a great start this year through his first several weeks, he's really gotten tagged his last 5 outings. So far tonight, nothing through 1 1/3. Dodgers down by a run in the 8th inning on a 2-1 to Max Muncy. He takes it low and away for ball 3. Fouled it off himself, full count. Join the club.
We've had enough nervous moments on foul balls off of feet and shins and hit batters near the knob of their bat. Seeing more and more of that, I think, because of the guys really working on launch angle and a slight uppercut. So they're hitting the top of the baseball more and driving it down into their toes.
Three-two. Driven the other way, Matt Caesar. First at bat of the night for Kyle Farmer, who came on in that double switch. And the bottom of the 7th inning. All kinds of defensive changes we didn't have a chance to tell you about because of the quick double play, but Farmer came in at 3rd. They kept Muncy in the game. He slid out to left, and Verdugo moved to center. John Peterson exited. Slider for ball 1. Chopper to 3rd. That's a fair ball. Villanueva with a running throw, and he got him. Now, Villanueva has not done much to throw this crowd with a bat, but defensively turns in a nice play to finish the Dodgers in the 8th. They do glance over to the phone, and Dave Roberts says, play on. They got him.
1988 World Series team before the Dodgers host the Reds at 6:10. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a cap, the 60th anniversary cap, sponsored and presented by Security Benefit.
Franchi Cordero swings to the first pitch from Daniel Hudson. And a 5-4 game in the 8th. I thought it was somewhat ironic that Walker Buehler was the center of attention yesterday, obviously coming out of the game after the 93 pitches through 6 no-hit innings, and that it fell on the 20-year anniversary of Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game. Kerry Wood, 1998, May 4th, as a 20-year-old, threw 122 pitches in that game to get those 20 Ks and match the major league record. Just a different world that these guys are now coming up in. I mean, Kerry Wood as a rookie that year 9 times exceeded 120 pitches and then was shut down in August with elbow soreness. Elbow gave out the next spring, had Tommy John surgery, and dealt with arm problems throughout the rest of his career.
They continued to do the best they can, and all they can do is keep analyzing with the doctors, with the data, with the therapists, with the MRIs. What is the best way to take care of the arm and to preserve it for as long as possible at a very elite level of stress?
Considered by some maybe the greatest game ever pitched. 20 Ks, no walks. Just 1 hit against a really good Astros lineup. A couple of Hall of Famers in it. That one goes Cordero's way, and it's a leadoff walk.
I remember watching that game, and a lot of high cheese fastballs up there just going by people they had no chance at.
Matching him with that big curveball of his. Came back from the Tommy John, had a few good seasons in the rotation, then dealt with some shoulder problems and eventually moved to the bullpen. Padres searching for some insurance, and the guy at the plate is the reason that they're ahead right now. Rafi Lopez, who hit his first home run as a Padre off fields in the 6th, gave him this 5-4 lead. And he corks one into the right center field gap. First pitch that he sees. The juggle from Verdugo won't cost him anything. First and third, nobody out.
Lopez has shown he can hit the low fastball there and the high fastball for the home run. Went down and got that one. Nice arc to that swing to pull it off of his knees.
Chase Headley to pinch hit.
First and third, no out. Dodgers pulling the infield all the way in. Only 3 outs left on the offensive side of the game for them. So that runner at third is the only one right now they are concerned with.
Strike one. Headley, the other part of the return for the Padres in the deal that brought Brian Mitchell, tonight's starter, who we've detailed not working out so far. Headley not working out either. He's 5 for 40 and has lost his job at third very handily to Christian Villanueva at this point. Trying to come through here. At the corners, nobody out, and he takes in the dirt 1-1. He'll turn 34 on Wednesday this coming week. For 7.5 years with the Padres and 3.5 years with the Yankees. Runner takes off from first, and Headley yanks a base hit down the line. Cordero's in to score. Lopez to third, and it's 6-4 San Diego.
Andy Green gets aggressive with Lopez at first. Loosen Headley up a little bit. He gets a strike with everybody moving around, including the Dodger infield. He pops that into right field over their head. Resets the table at first and third.
Big insurance for the Padres with the Dodgers set to send the top of the order up there in the ninth. Infield still pulled in as Freddie Galvis stands in. And it's the first pitch foul. Sellout crowd tonight in Monterey. Just over 21,000. Oh, and 2. Be nice tomorrow if the forecast holds to have our first nice weather day of this series. Folks have braved the rain each of the first 2 nights. Supposed to be low 80s, partly sunny tomorrow.
Yeah, I've heard the weatherman here in town is he might lose his job.
Yeah, after this weekend.
Yeah, 90% chance of rain. We played through it last night. I think it was supposed to be 70 or 80 here, and maybe ease off. We've had pretty nice weather for as bad as the forecast was going to be.
Tells you how bad it was because the weather's not been nice. Swing and a miss for strike 3, 1 out.
Breaking ball. Daniel Hudson's curveball and slider, one down there. Devastating.
Aswahe. Cracks his bat on a base hit to right. Aswahe with his first hit in almost 2 weeks, and it brings home an additional run of insurance against Hudson.
Hudson and Yasmani out there for a little meeting. I don't know if that was to stall a little bit to bring Pedro Baez into the game, or they were going over a little strategy. Ball was not hit well. Sometimes encourages managers and pitching coaches to leave their pitcher in. Just the odds of the game got him.
First and second now, 1 out. Here's Caesar taking a ball low. Series wraps up tomorrow with a 1:10 Los Angeles time first pitch. Rich Hill for the Dodgers, the rookie Eric Lauer for the Padres. For the first time the Dodgers will have seen him. We'll bring this long road trip to a close. 4 in San Francisco, 4 in Arizona, and these 3 in Mexico. Four and 5 on the trip so far. Bottom of the zone for strike 2. Ready to get home, huh? Be good to get back to Dodger Stadium.
You know, sometimes a team, you look at a schedule and you see the night game and then you see the day game the next day and you go, whoa, that's going to be rough. But when you know after that day game you're getting to go home, it feels a lot better. And there's going to be a lot of focus tomorrow if this ends up being an L, because they want to win the series here in Monterey. Win the series against the teams that you're supposed to, plus also try and get closer to 500.
2-2. Ground ball to third. Farmer whips it to second. That's one. And a double play. But the Padres get two big insurance run and have plated 4 against the Dodger bullpen tonight. They need 3 in the 9th. The 7-4 lead as we get ready to go to the 9th. It'll be a minute or two, so come on inside here for a moment. They challenged that and did confirm that it's a double play. So uphill battle for the Dodgers here in the 9th inning, but the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the top of the order come through. We were used to so much of that magic last year from 2017. Felt like the Dodgers starting to get on a roll. Got that split in Arizona. Won the first game here against San Diego. This is looking like it's going in the wrong direction. But you know what? Try and win series. Try and win series and get through this and get back into it.
How about your overall thoughts of this trip here to Mexico and this series this weekend here in Monterey?
It's been fantastic. I mean, the people have been so generous with their time, taking care of us. Everything that has happened here as far as the hospitality at the ballpark and at the hotel. It's a lot of fun to be here, but like you said last inning, it'll be a lot of fun and nice to get home too. And not because we are in Mexico, but because the trip has been 11 games in 10 days.
Brad Hand to try and close it out for San Diego. Some of the liveliest stuff of any bullpen arm in the National League.
It's going to be a tough challenge against him. You can see the ERA at 3. That gives you a little optimism, but Brad Hand will be attacking because he's got such a large lead.
Taylor, Verdugo, Grandal, the doo-ups. Chris takes the first pitch away, ball one. Now looking at Hand's game by game this year, most of his outings he's his dominant self, but has had a few blow-ups. Gave up 5 against Milwaukee in an inning. Gave up 3 against Colorado in less than an inning. Gave up 3 against San Francisco in an inning and a third.
Maybe he'll be this year's Fernando Rodney against the Dodgers. What would happen with him?
Boy, they sure have the opposite of that in Arizona right now, don't they? Brad Boxberger.
It's perfect.
Steady. Here's the 1-1. Taylor takes ball 2. Now, 2 of those 3 blow-ups by Hand. Walks have been an issue. Falling behind Taylor here. He's home with the next one. Taylor shoots it to right field. That's a leadoff single. Taylor's 3rd hit of the night opens the 9th inning. Kike Hernandez sent to pinch hit now.
Is this inning going to take us to a place where we'll say if or but as far as the relief work again? One of the great things about an outstanding bullpen that's consistent, it gives you those better opportunities to come back in games.
Hernandez hit a home run last night and has had good numbers against the Padres all season. Trying to get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th. 7-4. Hand delivers. Hernandez dumps it back. Oh, 2.
This is when you kind of feel that it is kind of a neutral stadium. You know, last inning, tying run on deck. Barely starting to grow a little bit of a cheer for the Dodgers to come back.
It was odd last night, you know, in a combined no-hitter.
Yeah.
To not
well,
have a ton of atmosphere around it.
Yeah, it was a lot of noise and excitement, but it was just not specific to an event going on in the field all the time.
Strike 3 called over the inside corner for the first out of the 9th.
We know one person who doesn't agree with this call, and that's Kike Hernandez. He feels like he almost got hit on the right knee as he check swinged at that.
So 1-on-1 out for Grandal. Hand continues to pull away at that mud on his shoes. I think part of the issue last night was the weather, right? Everybody was getting rained on. Part of it probably too is these fans have been waiting almost 20 years for a regular season series here. They want to see some hitting.
That's true.
And to Grandal with a 1-0 pitch. Driven down the right field line, but that goes foul, and it's 1-1. Made a good catch down there, judging by the reaction of the folks in the right field bleachers. Of course he did. He's got the right colors on. What do you think the split has been, Dodger Padre gear?
Oh, I think it's 75-25 Dodgers. I might even be low.
I think you're right. The 1-1 offering. Grandal swings through it, strike 2. Saw a couple of throwback Padres jerseys today. And I guess I remember that because it's kind of been surprising to see Padres stuff. It is mostly Dodger blue. The 1-2.
And now that you mention it, as the bus pulls up the last, what, 3-4 blocks, it's almost like a sea of blue that is walking towards the ballpark. That shot right there, I don't see a whole lot of Padre color in. We're looking at probably about pieces of 10 people.
We got a Padre hat there with a Dodger sweater. It's very conflicted. It's complicated.
Well, just checks both sides. There's no advantage.
She's a fan of baseball. 2 out.
Breaking ball, got Kike Hernandez, and now he beats Yasmani Grandal with a fastball up.
Cody Bellinger trying to keep it alive for Matt Kemp, who waits on deck and has had a big night. Really creates some drama if Bellinger can reach. Hunter takes off on a strike. Taylor gets second uncontested.
You might see Cody shorten up right here and try and use the left side of the diamond or the middle of the field. Try and get the tying run to the plate. A tough lefty.
One and one. There's a bit of an interesting shift on them. They do have the traditional pull shift, what has now become traditional, where they have the 3 fielders to the right side, but the lone fielder on the left side is closer to third than you normally see. Christian Villanueva playing just a few feet to the left of his left of where he normally would. Hand to Bellinger with a 1-1 pitch. Tries to lay off. It goes around, and it's 1-2.
Well, with 2 strikes now, they weren't going to give the gift bunt with the full shift, but now with 2 strikes, they don't think Bellinger will attempt that.
On a 1-2, Bellinger fouls it back.
That was one to hit right there. It was up. Jammed himself a little bit just because it didn't break enough. But as far as breaking pitches from hand, if you're going to get one, that was a mistake that you want to try and capitalize on.
Another 1-2. He gets Bellinger swinging and finishes the Dodgers off. Padres even this series at a game apiece, getting 4 against the Dodger bullpen tonight.
Break the Dodger winning streak. They had won 3 in a row. And now they're going to have to get back to their winning ways tomorrow, as Bellinger is the 3rd Dodger to strike out this inning.
Our Lexus play of the game tonight came from Rafi Lopez. His first home run as a Padre came off Josh Fields to take the Padres from down 1 to up 1 before they added a couple of runs of insurance later in the game, and a 7-4 final score for Orr Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew Joe Davis saying so long from Monterey.